Alright, so I've gone ahead and started to do the facial muscles of the skull. Um, what we have here is we have the cartilage of the nose and the ear, basically. The ear is made up of different parts of cartilage, like the earlobe, for example. Is not cartilage. But the different parts are definitely cartilage. The nose is made up of 4 or 3, I guess, points of cartilage. This one is a part of the septum. This is the septum right here. I'm not sure what the name of that is, but let me... Wait, I didn't want to paint that. I wanted to transform that. It's kind of this form, and that varies obviously with different people. This nostril is also part cartilage and part fat, so it's another part. And really, you could think of it as kind of an inverted form of this. They're very similar. So let's see if I can put that back. So essentially, the nose is formed much the way the skull forms the face. It's kind of pre-made in a way, you know. The eye, same way. The muscle around it, it's just this muscle fiber that goes around the eye, and the eye has some cartilage material in there too, the upper eyelid, and it's formed. You know, it's not formed by a bunch of different little muscles. It's really its own muscle that gives you that form. Same with the mouth. The lips are kind of formed. There's fleshiness over the muscle, basically. So I guess what I'm saying is this is the bulk of the face, you know, the skull and the eye, mouth, nose, ear. Those all kind of are there. What fleshes it out more are a bunch of little muscles, and there's a bunch of them. So I thought that I would simplify it and maybe do 3. So the first one that I think is the main one is the masseter muscle, and it connects right here, the cheekbone to the jaw, right here. So we could add a sphere for that. Let's see if I can do this easily enough. So it needs to be scaled down a little bit. That's about the right size, maybe scaled up a little bit. Tilted. And let's see. Something like that. There's more muscle. It's got more muscle that attaches behind it. So it's really got two parts. But this part right here is important because the part that attaches behind it is not as prominent as this part. This is the prominent part. And when you look at a portrait on somebody whose face is kind of not very fleshy, like an athlete, you'll see this depressing this triangular depression right here behind the masseter muscle and in front of the ear. So there is a bit more of this that attaches here, but the idea that this triangular depression exists is important. And also, you don't want to bring this out too far. You got to remember that the widest point of the skull is right here, which is the parietal eminence. This right here, cheekbone, zygomatic arch. And then the next is the angle of the jaw right down here. And so you don't want this muscle to come out. I mean, it does on some people, but you want to angle in towards the jaw. Okay. On some people, certainly it does come out more wider than the cheekbone does, and it's unusual, but it does happen. Iggy Pop, I think, is one person. You could take a look at photos of him. I think that's the case for him. Next we could do is the zygomatic major and the zygomatic minor. I suppose we should add something here. There's different names for it. The one that I'm familiar with is called the node. It's a node. And really the node, as far as I know, is a bit of tendon. And I don't know much about it. I think it's a floating tendon, basically. The equivalent in bone would be a sesamoid bone, this floating bone. And I've seen a sesamoid bone that was about the size of a node, where it's looks like a bean. So I could be butchering this whole thing, you know. But what I know about it is that it's this floating form at the corner of the mouth where a lot of muscles attach to. And if I could get it placed, which I seem like I'm struggling quite a bit here. Geez, why is this such a struggle for me? So it's something like that at the corner of the mouth. To me, it's like one of the most important forms, and it seems to be a form that a lot of people don't really understand. Let me explain. What you have here, let me change tools. What you have here is you have the upper lip, lower lip, and the node. And that node, as you can see, comes forward. It's a form that projects, and then what's left behind is the corner of the mouth. So if you did not have the node there, if the node did not exist, then you'd have, your mouth would be a beak, basically. There'd be this upper bill and lower bill of the beak. And that's not the case, you know. A lot of people sculpt a portrait that way. They're missing that crucial form right there. And this form, what comes with it is all this muscle attachment to it. So that even pronounces it even more. So that's a very, you know, make sure the corner of your mouth has that form. Look for it. Alright, so we're going to attach the zygomatic major to that node. And usually the node is not depicted on top of the mouth muscles. It's usually depicted below it, but I want it there. I want you to be able to see it. It's depicted below it, and what you'll see is the muscles that attach to it go below this muscle right here, the mouth muscle. So, wait, that's not what I wanted to do. But for the sake of being able to see it and understand it, I'm going to keep it visible right now. So let's add a sphere. Let's see if I could get this in place a little quicker than I did before. It's really just a thin muscle like this. It's like a cord that goes from the cheekbone to that space right there to the node. Yeah, this is hell for me, the transform tool. I assume everybody's doing much better with that than I am. Wow, I'm not very good at this transform tool. Maybe gamers are better. I don't know. So that's about that. And then we do the zygomatic minor, which is just pretty much like that muscle, but it attaches a little more on the front of the face. So we could just copy that. And its attachment is to the mouth muscles. It doesn't attach to the node. And really, that's all I was going to do. There's other muscles, obviously, on the face, but I figured that gives you an idea. You could go through all the muscles on your own if you ever wanted to do that at any time. It's a lot like that. Like the temporalis muscle is very flat, fits in this area. There's a forehead muscle. The idea of the forehead muscles is, which I find most interesting, is that the fibers go vertical, and that explains why the wrinkles in your forehead are horizontal. So the wrinkles bunch up perpendicular to the muscle fibers. So think about that. The muscle action, the contraction and expansion of muscle bunches the skin up, and so you have those wrinkles go perpendicular to the fibers. So anyway, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. That's a brief run through of facial muscles. I would do more, except I think from just this little bit you could see how the face emerges from the skull. Like there's a muscle called the buccinator that fits right in here. There's more muscles that come up to the node, quite a few muscles. It just starts to look a little bit more fleshed out, but you could see it just from these few forms applied to the skull already. Okay?